Let's mirror that. Yes, God. Yes, God. All right, Yes, God family. Let me open up this solar charger power bank so I can get it charged up. Yes, God family. Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday, Yes, God family. I wanted to pop on. I was on for a little bit earlier today, but I wanted to pop on this evening and talk about the fact that circumstances do not matter. Circumstances do not matter. Can everybody hear me? Can everybody hear me fine? Is my voice coming through? I know TikTok said I had a little tapping sound earlier. I want to make sure that that's not there and that everyone can hear me. Happy Thursday. I know you have something good to say. Yes, God. Hey, hey, hey. Yes, God. Okay, so everybody can hear me. Hi, Natasha. I saw you earlier and subscribed to my YouTube channel. Yes, God. I remember you from Rochester. Yes, you can hear me. Okay, perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. All right, so I want to talk about the fact that circumstances don't matter, and I want to talk about how and why. Talk to me, what you got for us today. Yes, God. Okay, so what I got for you today is the fact that circumstances do not matter. What matters more than circumstances is our vibrational state of being. Our vibrational state of being is determined by our emotional state, because emotions are energy in motion. And so this is why it is very, very important to be able to regulate your emotions and control your emotions through your thoughts, through your perspective. Good day, happy Thursday. All right, so what happens is, so have you ever heard of an instance, or even maybe been in a circumstance where a whole bunch of people had a similar experience, but then there was someone that was there at the same place, same time, that did not have that same experience? We can hear you clearly. Sending love and gratitude from Cape Town. Sending love right back. Hey, girl. Hey, Natasha. It was so nice to see your beautiful face. I was like, I know her. Yes, God. So there can be multiple people in a similar or exact same circumstance that have a different experience of that circumstance. Sometimes, there could be several people in a car accident, right? And several people got hurt, and then there happened to be one person who went unscathed, okay? And you might think to yourself, like, well, how could that possibly happen? They were all under the same circumstance. The difference was the vibration of those people, okay? And I talked about this earlier in my story. I gave a story time about how today it was projected on me that I was not going to be able to find a generator because everyone is getting ready for this storm. Everyone's trying to be prepared. Generators are out. Nobody can find them. And so when I was at the dentist chair, I mentioned like, yeah, because they were like, oh, what do you got going on today? I was like, I'm going to go do my walk. I'm going to, go pick up a generator. And they were like, oh, you're not going to be able to find a generator. Like, you're not going to be able to find a generator. We had clients come in yesterday and tell us that they could not find a generator. They're all sold out because everyone's looking for generators. Now, I had different options, right? I could have accepted that. I could have accepted that as fact. I could have accepted that as truth and just been like, oh my God, okay. And I almost did. I'm gonna be honest. So when I got out of the chair, I decided, okay, let me go ahead and call in advance so that I can not waste my time going to all these different places, right? So I called Herc Rentals. And they were like, yeah, we got so much demand right now. Like, we only have a few available and you can rent them for the week. It's $300 for the week. And I was like, rent it? I don't want to rent a generator. Like, I want to have a generator, it's a good thing to have regardless. And so even then, right, I didn't stop there. I was like, okay, you know what? I know that I have God within me. I know that I am protected. I am provided for. All of my needs are met. Everything I touch turns to gold. I'm always the exception to the rule. Everything always goes my way. Okay. So that is my state of being. That is what I have programmed myself as my experience, regardless of circumstance. And so what happened is I just went and I drove to Lowe's. I was like, I'm going to go in Lowe's and I'm going to get my generator. And as soon as I walk in the door, there's a whole frenzy of people crowding around this pallet of generators, right? And I was like, they're like, the line starts over there. Everybody's in it. TikTok is glitchy for you. Hopefully it's not everyone's having that experience. Hopefully that changes in a moment. So everyone's all in a panic, all in a frenzy over these generators, right? I am still remaining calm. I am being in my regulation, in my nervous system, right? I'm being in my regulated nervous system. And I'm like, I came to get a generator and I'm getting a generator, the end. Like, there's no need for me to get upset. There's no need for me to get anxious. There's no need for me to get worried. Thank you for continuing to tap that live, TikTok. Instagram, I would love for you to tap that live too. And so, I came with my cart. Or excuse me, I was like, where are the carts at? And they were like, oh, you need a flatbed. Like, even the employees at Lowe's were in a tizzy, right? And I was like, okay, so where are the flat carts? So I didn't run. I walked down to the other end of the store to go get a flat cart. Thank you for continuing to tap, tap, tap. And I came back and I got in line. And literally the last of the generators that was sitting on the floor was put into someone else's cart, right? And I just stood there. And the guy literally turned at me. He's like, there's more in the back. They're coming out. And I was like, I know. So just to illustrate this, right? So long story short, of course, I got my generator. I went and got my propane tank. I did all the things and I did what I set out to do today. But what I want to illustrate here, right, is that how many times have we allowed the projections of other people to imprint us? And then, maybe there would have been another version of me that would have just drove home. Like, oh, well, there's no generator, so I'm just going to go home. Oh, well, I'm just not going to get a generator. You know what I'm saying? But we have to have the autonomy, right, and the courage to deny the circumstance, to deny our experience of the circumstance. Okay? And I have done this many, many, many times in my life. I can remember a couple weeks ago, I had to go to the DMV for something. And I know that typically whenever I go to the DMV, whenever anyone goes to the DMV, right, it's a lot of red tape. It's a lot of waiting in line. Sometimes down here, it's even, we're not open right now. Like, we're not accepting anybody new. You have to come back tomorrow. I literally was like, oh, I'm about to stop by the DMV and do what I need to do real quick. And when I tell you, I literally pulled into the DMV, walked in, there was very few people in there. I sat down, not even for like 5 minutes. I was called back. I did my thing and I was in and out. And so what I want to illustrate here is that the way that we perceive things and the way that we perceive ourselves, first and foremost, okay? Because it's not even necessarily about perceiving circumstances or, you know what I'm saying, like how things are in the world. It's more so about perceiving myself in a certain way. Everything always works out for me. Everything I touch turns to gold. I get what I want, okay? I'm the exception to every rule. I don't care what they experienced. I don't care what they experienced. I don't even care what I used to experience. Because this version of me right now, the red carpet is laid out for her. She is always welcomed in. She is always pushed to the front of the line. She is always given the discount. Everything she wants is available. Okay. And so this is so important because we have to allow that energy to precede us before we go into circumstances. Okay. And so this sometimes can take training, right? We have to reprogram and retrain because our ego mind likes to convince us that it's not going to work, that there's going to be a problem, that the other shoe is going to fall, right? That it's never going to go the way it's supposed to go. And especially if that has been our experience before. So we're not necessarily dealing with outside circumstances as much as we are dealing with our own inner expectations. All right. By the way, my name is Megan. I'm the CEO and founder of Yes God Wellness, which is a holistic health company dedicated to the mind, body, and spirit connection. We have helped numerous women with womb health, from releasing fibroids to healing postpartum to releasing trauma, to not having to get hysterectomies, to help with fertility. And the brand has evolved now into coaching and life coaching. And now I host a community called the Quantum Prayer Circle. And the whole purpose of it is to retrain our identity and retrain our nervous system to be this person who expects everything to always work out, who expects God to perform miracles, who expects even the challenges that we face to work out in our favor. And one of the ways that we can begin to do that, wow, what a word, yes, God. One of the ways that we can begin to do that is by dwelling in a state of gratitude. We are not here to beg and plead and convince and argue our way into anything. We are here to boldly step forward with expectancy of the outcome that we desire. And when we can have the courage to boldly step forward with expectancy of the outcome we desire, the outcome we desire is drawn to us energetically, okay? Because when we are in that energy of gratitude, we are emitting a very high frequency. And so when we are able to maintain that high frequency of gratitude, and the thing is, you don't even necessarily have to be grateful about the thing that it is that you're looking for or looking to experience. You can be grateful for your children or your relationships or your health or your mobility or anything, or just the fact that you exist. Grateful for the fact that you have a roof over your head, that you have trees outside, that you have transportation. So it doesn't really matter what the source of your gratitude is. What matters is what is your dominant emotional state? If you were to look at all of the 24 hours let's not 24 hours. Okay. So if you were to look at all of your waking hours, right? When you are actually awake and you are conscious, what percentage of that time are you spending being grateful? What percentage of that time are you spending complaining and worrying? This is what we have to be mindful of so that we can start to shift, because we want the dominant energy, the dominant emotional state that we have to be gratitude. Why? Because gratitude is an abundant emotion. It is an abundant emotional state. It is an abundant, expectant vibration. It is saying thank you, okay? So when we can be in the energy of thank you, circumstances will begin to give us more and more reasons to say thank you. But when we are in the energy of complaining and looking at what's going wrong and being worried and surveilling for all of the things that can go wrong, guess what's going to happen? Our circumstances are going to reflect that back to us. So our energetic emotional state is a self-fulfilling prophecy. I needed this right in this moment. I'm so glad. Yes, God. And that's my intention, to be here in these moments. Because, I'm a pretty structured person, or that's my intention anyways. And so, I would love to have like a specific time that I go live every day. And I try, but sometimes life happens and I come live when I can, but I trust. I don't beat myself up about it. I don't shame myself. I don't guilt myself. I say, you know what, Megan? You are going to show up at just the right time for just the right people with just the right message. Okay. So I am constantly giving myself a script about how perfect my life is. All right. That doesn't mean that every single circumstance of my life is perfect. Now, I can say a lot of things in my life are perfect, and a lot of things became that way because I decided to be intentional about seeing them that way. So true, it's happened to me. Yes, God. Yes. So when we can begin to actually allow our intentions and our gratitude to be sent out over the experiences that we have, we will find that the experiences that we begin to have become so much more fulfilling because we are already expecting them to be. Okay. So when we're expecting things to be wonderful, yes, God, thank you. I don't know what all this stuff is TikTok is, but I'm loving it. I'm so grateful for everyone who continues to tap this live and continues to show love and continues to share the live. When you can put yourself in a state of gratitude, you will begin to magnetize more things to be grateful for. When you put yourself in a state of self-loathing and depression and anxiety and telling yourself that you're not enough and telling yourself that you're not worthy and telling yourself that it doesn't happen for people like you, you are going to see your life mirror that back to you. Okay. And so what I'm saying, like, what's the harm in trying it? You have nothing to lose. So what I challenge my clients to do is to go on a gratitude spree. Literally just do 48 hours, do 72 hours. Don't complain about anything. If you do have something that comes up that like causes a trigger in you, be very mindful to shift your language around it. Okay. I'm not feeling the best, but I know that my immune system is working to turn this around immediately. Okay. I don't know how this particular problem is going to work itself out, but I trust that there is a divine solution in store that I may not have any awareness of. And I'm going to trust for God to reveal that to me. I'm going to trust for God to touch the hearts and the minds of all the decision makers and all of the other stakeholders that are involved in this particular issue that I'm having in life right now. Okay. Just like sometimes you call to a company and you get somebody who is super helpful and they get everything done for you. And then other times you call and the person is just mean and nasty and frustrated and they don't do anything to help, right? It's just like that. So being able to, you have to be determined and committed and dedicated, okay, to your ideal outcome. So that means that sometimes you have to deny it. If you call a company and you don't get the answer you want, okay, thank you, call back, get somebody else, okay? You got to be willing to hang up on things that are not going the way you want and call back and try again and go again, right? Just like today with the generator, okay? Someone told me I'm not going to be able to get it. Okay, I'm going to call this place. Okay, you're low in stock. You okay? Okay, you know what? I'm going to ignore all that. I'm going to deny all of the evidence. I'm going to deny even my mind trying to convince me and trying to tell me that this is not going to happen for you, Megan. Like, it's 2 days before the storm. Who do you think you are that you can get a generator? Like, and I responded like, I am one with the all that is. I am one with God. I am divine. God lives within me. Of course, I'm going to get everything I need. Of course, all my needs will be met. Of course, my supply comes from expected and unexpected ways. Of course, miracles drop in my lap. Okay. Of course, I get good news every single time I turn around. Of course, people want to help me. Of course, people want to, you know what I'm saying, provide for me. Of course. I used to be surrounded by people who were very skilled at sucking the gratitude right out of me. Yes. And that's another important point. You know, you have to gatekeep your energy. Okay. You have to be very mindful of spending a lot of your time or even any of your time with people who are constantly complaining, constantly lamenting, constantly talking about the past in a negative way. Okay. I see people all over the internet talking about narcissism and talking about this and talking about that. And yes, there's a place for that, okay? When it comes to coming into awareness and coming into healness and healing yourself, right? And validating the experiences you've had. But there needs to be a cutoff point, okay? Because there is a fine line between healing and co-creating. We are always co-creating with the God within us. And the God within us is co-creating with our dominant focus. Okay? So what is our dominant focus? Are we focused on things always working out? Are we focused on, I don't know how, but I know that it will? Or are we focused on, oh, I can't stand this. Oh, this person gets on my nerves. Oh, this person is always they're never gonna change. Oh, this person, that, oh, this person. Oh, every time I go to this place, this always happens. What is our dominant focus? Because whatever our dominant focus is, God is saying yes to that. Okay? We are creating in every moment, whether you can't, ignorance does not exempt you from this law. Ignorance to the law does not exempt you from it. Okay? Just because you don't know, right, doesn't mean you are exempt from the consequences. And what we talked about earlier today, right, was people who have done amazing, wonderful, spectacular things in their life. What did they do? They convinced themselves that it was possible for them. They convinced themselves that they were already that person, even before their circumstances reflected it back to them. Okay? Muhammad Ali convinced himself he was the greatest. Michael Jordan convinced himself. Okay? Kobe Bryant convinced himself. Bob Proctor convinced himself. Tony Robbins, okay? I know I'm naming all men. I'm trying to think of some women. Serena and Venus Williams, right? They had their dad egging them on, but they were able to be convinced, okay? So the most important thing you can do, stop trying to change other people and stop trying to change circumstances and force and manipulate and, you know what I'm saying, make things happen. You don't need to make anything happen. The only person that you need to convince and persuade is yourself. And it's not on a circumstance by circumstance basis. It is on an identity basis, okay? Circumstances are responding to our identity. Harriet Tubman, yes. Harriet Tubman, Maya Angelou, yes, yes, yes. Okay? These women convinced themselves, yo, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing, and that's it, the end. And because they convinced themselves, guess what? That's what they did. I keep getting kicked off SMH. Oh, I don't know why. So convince yourself. What is it that you are convincing yourself of? Okay. Are you convincing yourself that you're not good enough? Are you convincing yourself that it's too late for you, that you're too old, that you're too young, that you're too this, that you're too that you're not enough this, that you're not enough that? You have to have the courage to be honest with yourself and take an inventory of what is it that I am truly convincing myself of. And once you begin to understand this, and once you begin to have faith that size of a mustard seed and say, you know what? I am always successful. I am always prosperous. My needs are always met. Things happen at the right place and the right time with the right circumstances. I always meet who I need to meet. Whoever I lose is going to be okay. I'm going to be okay. When one door shuts, another one opens. Okay? There is no such thing as loss because we are on a divine path. Okay? So for my work here at Yes God Wellness, the way that we hack that is we just identify with our creator. Okay? We all have God within us. So why not identify as that creator? Why not identify as one with our God, right? Because even in scripture, it tells us, I and my Father are one. So I'm going to identify that. And what is God? God is omnipotent. God is successful. God is whole. God is perfect. God is worthy. God is one with all that is. And so when we can start identifying as that, our energy and our vibration is completely different. We start to see opportunities that we didn't see before. Okay? We start to perceive things that we didn't perceive before. We start to view obstacles as stepping stones. We begin to allow ourselves to be open to the infinite possibilities instead of allowing our minds to pigeonhole us into, well, if it doesn't happen on this timeline in this particular way, then it's just not going to happen for us. And then all is just lost. So we might as well just give it up. No. Amen. I was just talking about the struggle of faith. How do you approach bills that you don't see to pay? For the most part, I am very positive, but I do find myself worrying when the stakes are higher. So this is something that I used to do with my bills, okay? I would print them out because everything's paperless. Unless you get paper bills, print your bills out or have them on paper. Or even if you don't have them printed on paper, right? Get a journal. List out each one of your bills, okay? And the amount, right? Dear God, I thank you for the complete and total payment of this bill. Dear God, I thank you for the complete and total payment of this bill, okay? Give yourself permission. Don't be afraid of your bills, because a lot of people stuff their bills away. They don't want to look at them. They think that if they ignore them, they'll just go away. Then they come home and the lights are off. No, God. We're not hiding from anything, okay? Because obstacles and bills and issues in our life are literally just like the Wizard of Oz. The first step is to pull the curtain back and understand that they're not as big as scary as we perceive them to be, okay? Call up the bill companies. Hey, you know what? I'm having an issue. Is there any way that we can break this up? Can I have a payment plan? Like, start to get resourceful, okay? You can't cower in fear away from your bills. Address them head on and give thanks in advance for them being taken care of. Sometimes it means you're going to be able to pay your bill. Sometimes it means, hey, we have a promotional credit. We just applied $100 to your bill. You never know the infinite ways, right? But you have to be open to addressing them. When you open up the door and let fear come in and sit down with you, you know what it does? It begins to shrink. You have to be willing to face your problems head on, because when you can face them head on and when you can look directly at them, now you have the power to transmute them, okay? You have the power to view them now as stepping stones versus obstacles. But you have to give yourself permission. You have to have the courage to actually give your awareness and your attention to using your imagination. Okay. Sometimes even the last time you pay your bill, you know how we get an email saying, okay, thank you for your payment, right? Pull those up and reread them. Okay. Allow yourself to reread them. Allow yourself to feel that gratitude. Oh, I love when I see that. Thank you for the payment. That feels really good to know that that bill is paid. Okay. This is how you occupy the emotional state of relief before the circumstance has had an opportunity to catch up. And when you begin to occupy that state of gratitude and relief, let God figure out the how. Let God figure out the how. But we have to do our part in opening up our awareness and our expectation that, hey, this is not doomsday, okay? Something can happen. This can be taken care of. Some miracle can happen right now where I am able to now pay my bills, okay? Complete and total payment of my bills, yes. So remember, because the thing is we get anxiety because we allow our mind to tell us that there's only one way that something can happen. And I don't see the money in my account right now, so I don't see how it's going to happen. No, you know what? What do I want to happen? I want to see those payment notifications come in. I want to feel that relief and that satisfaction and that security of knowing that my bills are covered. So you know what? I'm going to give myself permission to close my eyes, take some deep breaths, okay? Maybe I open my eyes and I pull up some of my previous payment notification emails that I've gotten. And I'm going to just say, thank you, God. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for allowing this bill to be taken care of. Thank you for the infinite ways in which this bill is now taken care of. Thank you for the infinite opportunities, God. Okay? Because when we open ourselves up to the opportunities, you would be amazed at how the opportunities begin to fall in your lap. Don't let your mind limit and project onto you that there is only one way for something to happen. Okay? So I hope this is helpful. I am about to go take a bath because I'm a bath girl and I need to record my prayers for tomorrow in the Quantum Prayer Circle. And I need to get ready. I have some master classes coming up that I need to prepare for. And yes, God. So if you're just coming in on this live, go ahead and go check out my YouTube channel, Yes God Wellness YouTube channel. I do go and I take all of these replays and I post them over there. It won't be today because I kind of do them like a little bit behind. It depends. It depends on the day that I go live. I typically like to go live in the morning. Excuse me. But when my children aren't here, because I co-parent, I have more flexibility to go live in the evenings. So my goal is to go live as early as possible in the morning, honey. But I do be prioritizing my sleep because mama's got to get her rest. But go ahead and check out my YouTube channel. Stay tuned over there. I literally, every single live that I'm doing here will eventually be posted over on the YouTube channel. Okay. So you can go check out previous ones. I'm basically talking about the same things in every live. So I'm sure you can find value in the ones that are already posted over there. Yes God Wellness on YouTube. Also, my podcast is the Yes Godcast, which is also a YouTube channel. And you can also find that wherever podcasts are. I've had questions about my merch, my Yes God hoodies, which do say perfect on the back. Because we already are perfect, whole, and complete. You can find those on my website, affirmwear.store. And then all my other offerings, if you want to join us inside the Quantum Prayer Circle, we do have these conversations every day in there. We do our daily prayers and our weekly self-concept rampages. So highly recommend and suggest that you come join us in there so that you can begin to embody this. This is a lifestyle, okay? This is not something that you just want to do to get something and then you're back out and you're back complaining again. We want to live this life. We want to live a life of fulfillment, of joy, of peace, of bliss, of health, of happiness. Gracias. Yes, tonight is bath night for me too. Yay. Yes, God. Yes, God. All right, y'all. So I love you all. I'm sending you so much peace, so much prosperity, so much love, so much joy, so much redemption, so much relief, so much security and stability. Okay. Give it to yourself in your mind. What's that verse? Mark, I think it's a Mark 11:24. He who hath will be given more. But he who does not have, even what they do have will be taken from them. That scripture is about having gratitude for all the things you have. Focus on the haves. Don't focus on the have-nots, because when you focus on the have-nots, even what you do have will be taken from you. Okay? So I love you all. Thank you so much for continuing to tap that live. Thank you so much for sharing. And we will talk soon. All right? Bye, y'all.